would say that Huey Long was a good man. He helped the poor. And he wrote a book, My First Days in the White House. And if they wouldn't have killed him, I believe he would be president. Because he was smart.
Well, everybody loved him. That's why. There's nobody hated him. No poor people ever hated him.
I can't remember any Saturday night that I went anywhere that we didn't talk about killing Huey Long. It was a normal conversation. I suppose that the very strong pro-Long people weren't talking that way, but the antis certainly. It didn't mean you meant to do it. It just meant that you wished that there was some way to rid the state of this incubus.
The atmosphere was so thick and so tense that I've always said that while there was no conspiracy and no specific plan to assassinate Huey Long, I think the thing had to happen, and something triggered the occasion.
Presenting His Excellency Huey Pierce Long, the dictator of Louisiana, the enigma who is making many Americans regret that the United States ever purchased Louisiana.
I was elected railroad commissioner of Louisiana in 1918, and they tried to impeach me in 1920. When they failed to impeach me in 1920, they indicted me in 1921. And when I wiggled through that, I managed to become governor in 1928. And they impeached me in 1929.
He was a masterful politician who pretended he was just a simple country boy. A Democrat who scorned democratic institutions. He was a professed champion of the powerless, who amassed more personal power in his state than any man in American history. And not satisfied with that, hoped to win the presidency itself.
Huey Long, in my opinion, was the greatest man in this whole world, and he's done more for Louisiana than all the politicians combined, as far back as I can remember.
I wouldn't call him a great man. He was certainly an extremely able politician. He was very much like Caesar in ancient Rome. He leveled the liberties of the Republic, but did give some aid to the poor.
How many men ever went to a barbecue and would let one man take off the table what's intended for 9/10 of the people to eat? The only way you'll ever be able to feed the balance of the people is to make that man come back and bring back some of that grub he ain't got no business with.
If a man really has a purpose in life, the ambition and the dream that he has become pretty much the same thing. Huey Long was a populist, very much of a populist. In my judgment, he was the best of all the populists that came along. And he wanted to implement the idea that none should be too rich and none too poor. He wasn't against people being rich, except that he felt that by permitting the few to have so much, there wasn't much left for the many, and he wanted to spread some of that wealth around.
See, his policy was trying to make every man a king. That was his belief, to let everybody be equal. I don't know what would have happened if you'd have lived. It might have been a better place to live if they wouldn't have killed him.
Oh, they shot Huey Long in Louisiana as he wore down the Capitol stairs.
More than 100,000 men, women, and children came to Senator Huey Long's funeral at Baton Rouge in September of 1935. They were country people mostly, from the bayous and pine woods and red clay farms of Louisiana, unaccustomed to the city but anxious to pay their respects to the turbulent man they believed had been their friend. To get there, they had walked or ridden on the hard-top roads he had built for them, crossed rivers he had spanned with bridges.
And at 16 he left a place called Parish
And they watched in silence as he was buried beneath the lawn of the massive new Capitol building he had also ordered built, and in which an assassin had struck him down.
Claiming that Huey broke every rule.
The country had never seen a man quite like Huey Long, and no one who saw him would ever forget him. In 1946, Robert Penn Warren published his celebrated novel, All the King's Men, which told of the rise and fall of a ruthless and dynamic Southern politician.
Now, dirt's a funny thing, the boss said. Come to think of it, there ain't a thing but dirt on this green God's globe, except what's underwater, and that's dirt too. It's dirt makes the grass grow. A diamond ain't a thing in the world but a piece of dirt that got awful hot. And God Almighty picked up a handful of dirt and blew on it, and made you and me, and George Washington, and mankind blessed in faculty and apprehension. It all depends on what you do with the dirt. Is that right?
You know, he loved that show about being born in a log cabin.